Hi, whoever's watching. This is a video for a buddy of mine who's a potter and a sculptor and grinding discs, but I figure I'll just put it on my YouTube, and anybody that wants to know, you're welcome to the information. This is about how I finish the bottoms of my pots and what I use to get them smooth so they don't scratch people's tables. Okay, for just pieces that don't require leveling, they're not rocky, they just need a little buff up here. Whether I'm wood firing or gas firing, and I'm using wad, where you might put the dots on here and pluck those off. Sometimes there's a little bit of kiln wash that comes off the shelf. And, we potters, that, the smoother particles of clay sometimes seem to disappear down here, especially depending on how much water you use when you were trimming or smoothing in the leather hard or wet state. So just a way to kind of polish up that edge. And mostly for me, it's hangers on that came off the shelf from previous firings. So what I use here is I'm using a Geffen grip, and I like to use that just to speed up my process. I'm usually processing somewhere between, 50 and 100 pots at a time. So it just kind of saves on my wrists a little bit, but you can totally do this off the wheel by hand, not a problem. Found these pads on Amazon, and that's just kind of where I had to go. I didn't see any available locally. I've been trying a couple different brands, just, we all shop for a cheaper price, right? For the same product, but it's not the same. So this KGS brand has been good for me over the years, and I usually have about 4 grits, somewhere between, start at like 60 and then 120 and 2 something, and then 400. You can go up to 800, and they might have a 1,000, but I find the 400 and possibly the 800 is about as high as I need to go for what I want. I don't like this brand, and they actually get up into like the 2000s, and I thought that's why I bought them, because I wanted to even smoother. Here's what I don't like. I don't know if you're noticing this, and I hope it comes out on the camera, but the grid pattern or the size of the abrasives on this other brand I don't like is quite large. The first brand, the KGS brand, very, very small. You can feel it with your fingernail, and you can see it, but you kind of have to focus there to see each individual little pad. I find this one grabs the pots a little bit too much, and sometimes when I hit these edges on my pots, it might scratch the glaze because it's diamond. So I don't know, I'm not real happy with these as far as their performance goes for what I want them for. So I would go with this smoother, smaller abrasive area, the KGS brand, and they're a few dollars more, but I find they're worth it. The other thing that I use are these discs that I got off eBay. I don't know where else to get them. They are marketed as lapidary discs, and again, several grits that I have. This is an 800. This one's a 320. I have marked on the back. I like to mount mine on a bat, so it's dedicated. This is mounted with double stick tape, so there's a little bit of gap in here. I did have to take some time and spread those pieces of tape out so it didn't create an unlevel surface. I love to use these. These are, I think, 12-inch. They sell them in 8-inch too. If I was only doing mugs or smaller work, I probably would get the 8-inch ones because they're cheaper. But I do a lot of dinnerware, so this is nice for leveling plates that might have warped a little bit in the kiln, and or have a little micro wobble to them so they're not rockers on the table. That's the primary thing that I do with these discs if I have a larger piece that isn't quite sitting level again after it comes out of the kiln, because I wood fire and gas fire and use wad. I find that those wads sometimes warp the feed a little bit during the firing. You just get the pressure points. So these mount, because I have them on a bat, they mount with bat pins directly on the wheel head, and you can work right on top of them. I'll try to demonstrate that here in a minute. Okay, I hope this goes without saying, but safety first. Don't really have to worry about safety goggles in my opinion, but wear them if you need to. Ear protection might be a thing. It does make kind of a annoying sound. It's less about me worrying about damaging my hearing, just not liking to hear it. So usually crank the tunes and put on my headphones or something like that. But water, that's what I mean about safety. We're going to be creating a little bit of a paste if we were sanding without water. I hope you know that you're releasing some silica, depending on what clay body you're using, and it's just not a good idea to have that floating around and you breathing it. So that's all it takes, a couple of seconds there. I'll often have a throwing towel here just to dry this off real quick, but that little bit of a pass, usually all I need, and I have that glassy, smooth surface. Okay, next we're working on a platter, and I have these 4 feet here. You can see I had some kind of major stickage there from the kiln wash. Previous firing must not have ground my shelf off and re-washed it appropriately. The point here about using the big disc though and leveling things out, maybe you can hear this. It's going to oh so slight rock. So a little bit of twisting during the firing or something like that. Here's how I use this. Again, I usually just use my hand, and or I'll literally dip if it's a small enough area. I'll dip the pot in the water that I have my splash pan. Hold on tight. Do this a few times. And this is my 320. Okay, took those bits off real quick. And this should be pretty level now. Yeah, I don't have that rock anymore. So pretty fast solution to leveling a pot out. All right, I hope that was helpful. As far as pricing goes, I don't know what they currently are. These things last years for me, depending on how many pots I'm processing on which grit. I can tell you the 400 and the 220 are the ones that wear out the most quickly, just because they're the smoother ones, and that's usually the range I'm working in most often. So those pads, I think $15 a piece, I think it was. And the bigger discs, the 12-inch discs, last time I bought them, I think they were $60. And I believe it was free shipping on both at the time. Again, the bigger discs, you're going to find those on eBay. That's where I found them anyway, sorry. And they're often referred to as lapidary grinding discs. And then the smaller pads are just on Amazon. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you have a great day. See you next time.